The child embodies our ultimate vision, that every Filipino learner will realize their full potential and ultimately reach their biggest dreams, no matter how high, no matter how hard, through quality education. And as our learners aim to soar, we must continue to elevate our goals. Rising, the kite is our emblem of aspiration to deliver the brand of quality in Philippine basic education. The quadrants of the soaring kite symbolize the key reform areas in forwarding this cause, as we embark on this aggressive reform to yield upskilled teachers, well-developed curriculum, improved learning environment, and responsive multi-stakeholder cooperation. Using the colors of our flag, the logo symbolizes our unity and serves as a reminder that it takes a nation to educate a child. Together, we as a nation will have to move forward and gain more momentum so that our vision of quality basic education for all shall take flight. Sama-sama sa pagsulong ng edukalidad.
Well, hello, Mrs. Morgan. Remember how hard it was to get your students' attention? Oh, Mr. Jeski, any explosive ideas? And you, Mr. Fisher, the world keeps turning, right? Okay, we're past all that, because now we have Microsoft Educator Center. Trainings, courses, webinars, programs, badges, points, certificates. Join now and get yourself ready for the new school year. Teach your best.
Nang sumiklab ang giyera sa Marawi, maraming buhay at kabuhayan ang nawala. Maraming kabahayan at paaralan ang napinsala. Sa kabila ng matinding suliranin, naging matagumpay ang DepEd na mabigyan ang mga mag-aaral ng pagkakataong ipagpatuloy ang edukasyon at muling bumangon sa sitwasyon. Habang naghihintay sa pagkumpuni at pagsasaayos ng mga paaralan, nagkaloob ang DepEd ng mga temporary learning shelters, remedial classes, learning kits, at feeding programs para sa mga displaced learners. Nabigla ang lahat sa pag-alboruto ng Bulkang Taal. Libo-libong pamilya, kabilang ang mga guro at mag-aaral, ang nawalan ng tirahan at mga ari-arian. Mabilis ang naging tugon ng DepEd upang makapagpatuloy sa pag-aaral ang mga apektadong mag-aaral. Sinikap ng mga guro na turuan ang mga mag-aaral na pansamantalang tumuloy sa evacuation center. Tumama sa bansa ang COVID-19 pandemic, dahilan upang maantala ang normal na daloy ng pamumuhay at trabaho sa lahat ng sektor, kabilang na ang kagawaran ng edukasyon. Nang ipatupad ang Luzon lockdown, inilunsad ang DepEd Commons upang tuloy ang pagkatuto ng mga learners habang nasa bahay. Sa kabila ng mabigat na hamon sa ilalim ng new normal, patuloy na nagpunyagi ang DepEd upang maghanap at maghatid ng mga alternatibong pamamaraan upang magpatuloy ang edukasyon sa pinakaligtas at pinakaangkop na paraan. Sa ilalim ng Learning Continuity Plan, layunin ng DepEd na magpatuloy ang edukasyon nang hindi nakokompromiso ang kapakanan at kalusugan ng mga guro at mag-aaral. Isusulong ng DepEd ang tatlong pangunahing layunin: angkop na proteksyon, kaugnay ng mga health standards at safety protocols para sa ligtas na school year, patuloy na edukasyon sa pamamagitan ng blended learning, distance learning at homeschooling na angkop sa kapasidad ng bawat mag-aaral, at mabisang aksyon sa pakikipagtulungan sa lokal na pamahalaan at mga partner organizations upang maihatid ang dekalidad na edukasyon para sa lahat. Bawat DepEd Division ay bumuo rin ng sarili nilang Learning Continuity Plan upang gabayan ang mga guro, mga magulang at mga mag-aaral sa bagong pamamaraan ng pag-aaral gamit ang online, modular at TV and radio-based instructions. Gamit ang iba't ibang learning modalities, nagdaos ng dry run ang mga paaralan sa iba't ibang bahagi ng bansa, katuwang ang mga local government units at mga education partners upang maging handa sa bagong sistema ng edukasyon. Isinagawa rin ang mga pagsasanay at oryentasyon sa mga magulang upang maging epektibong katuwang sa pag-aaral ng kanilang mga anak. Sa anumang hamon o sitwasyon, handa ang DepEd. Handang kumilos, handang tumugon, at handang magserbisyo.
Ang dami ng mga pagsusubok at challenges ang naharap at napagtagumpayan ng ating Department of Education. Tuwing may pagsusubok, priority palagi natin ang ating learners at ang ating mga teachers sa tulong ng parents at saka partners at ang buong bansa. Ngayon, sa hinaharap natin itong new normal na sinasabi nila, matatag ang ating kagawaran, matatag ang DepEd dahil pinagtibay na tayo ng panahon. Kayang-kaya natin ito sa tulong ninyo.
G'day everyone, I'm Mark. As a teacher and a former principal, I know that professional learning often comes at the end of a very long day. But there are exciting, less structured ways to be in the driver's seat of your own lifelong learning. A great place to start is by engaging with our Microsoft Innovative Educator, or MIE, community. This global community is big, in fact it's enormous. Our MIEs love connecting. Monthly tweet meets are global gatherings of inspiring educators around big topics, and their Facebook group acts as a persistent home for discussions and shared activities. Another way teachers are learning within communities is through Microsoft Teams. Now, greater teacher collaboration improves teaching across schools, and Teams is the ultimate platform for a professional learning community. It's open-walled and socially embedded, so you can incorporate your OneNote Staff Notebook PLC and have access to all the goodness of video chat, phone, and collaboration tools. With Immersive Reader built in, it's inclusive and accessible on any device. Your learning community is just a click away. Last tip, our Microsoft Education Centre offers great ways to gain new skills with courses tailored uniquely to your needs. Make it a collaborative experience by picking a MEC course to do together with your peers. And as a bonus, you can practice collaborative learning by exploring a research paper, like the Class of 2030, and treat it just like a book club with your colleagues face-to-face or in Teams. The link to that research, it's in the description. Remember, learning is socially embedded. It's best done together for students and for teachers. Happy learning.
2020 brought new beginnings for the Department of Education. Ready to pivot towards attaining quality education, DepEd was hopeful of the challenges ahead of it. But as DepEd continued to work on its commitment, the world suddenly faced a steeper dilemma. Around the globe, countries like the Philippines had to shift their priorities to respond to a public health crisis brought by COVID-19. Schools had to be closed, activities had to be halted, graduation ceremonies had to be canceled, as people were urged to stay at home. A new normal dawned upon us. As soon as DepEd realized the impact of these disruptions in education, it began to proactively craft its learning continuity plan last April to ensure that learning opportunities will still be available. Consulting with partners and advisors through the Education Forum, as well as legislators, teachers, parents, learners, and the general public, DepEd made sure its LCP encompasses the concerns of the whole education sector in responding to the crisis. Its topmost priority being the protection of the health, safety, and well-being of learners, teachers, and personnel. To make informed decisions, DepEd first analyzed relevant data and epidemiological picture for the incoming school year. DepEd also issued guidelines on its required health standards to be adopted in all public and private schools and DepEd offices following DOH and IATF protocols. It covers 4 COVID-19 mitigation objectives, namely, to increase physical and mental resilience, reduce transmission, reduce contact, and reduce duration of infection. The LCP also outlined how learning continuity will be ensured. It streamlines the K-12 curriculum into the most essential learning competencies and allows the use of distance learning, homeschooling, and blended learning modalities. Since conducting face-to-face classes will be a risk in most areas, DepEd has anchored its delivery of education to modular, online, TV and radio, or a combination of all. Guided by teachers, modular learning will allow learners to use self-learning modules in a format applicable to learners' capacity. In online distance learning, teachers will facilitate and engage learners' participation through the internet, whether synchronous or asynchronous. TV and radio-based instructions, on the other hand, are converted lessons fit for the broadcast medium. The LCP assures that all our learners, including our SPED, ALS, Madrasa students, can still access education even within the confines of their homes, and ensures that their household capacity will not hinder their right to education. To make this possible, our joint Brigada Eskwela and Oplan Balik Eskwela is assisting the preparations for the rollout of the LCP. On May 8, the LCP was approved by the IATF. The President also gave it his full support and expressed his commitment to meeting the financial demands of its execution. The implementation of the LCP will not be easy. It is not a perfect plan, and complications can be expected along the way. But extraordinary times call for extraordinary and proactive measures, and the Department of Education is ready to address the challenges along the way with the help of our national and local government, partners, parents, and learners. As one nation, learning opportunities shall be available in this brave new world for our Filipino children.
When you need the focus to be on you and not whatever that guy's doing, open Teams.
Gagagantihan namin ang buong komunidad niya! Subukan mo! Tutal nawasak na naman namin ang lahat ng ari-arian niyo!
Sa totoong buhay, totoo ang pinsala ng giyera. Mula noon hanggang ngayon. Para limitahan ang kalupitan ng giyera, nagkaisa ang mga bansa 70 taon na ang nakalipas upang itaguyod ang Geneva Conventions. Ang Geneva Conventions ay kinikilala ng buong mundo bilang bahagi ng international humanitarian law na nagtatakda ng mga patakaran ng giyera o the rules of war. Ayon dito, huwag gawing target ang mga sibilyan at kanilang mga ari-arian. Tratuhin sa makataong paraan ang mga nabilanggo at protektahan ng mga doktor, nurse at mga ospital para paglingkuran ang mga sugatan at may sakit saan man panig sila nagmula. Alamin ang Geneva Conventions. Bisitahin ang www.therulesofwar.org.
Hi guys! So I just came from a meeting and I was just told that I would be leading this fundraising concert for International Students Day. And I have to present the plan to the school board next week. Okay, I'm going to need some help. Let me create a team space and invite my dream team. Sia, she knows all about the budgeting and stuff. Ivan, he knows all the kids from the performing arts group. Aisha, she worked on getting sponsorship last year. And Sam, because he's so cute. Let me lay out all tasks in Planner and kick things off. So, I'm almost done with my event concept and inspiration board. I just need Ivan to do some final tweaks and plug in the repertoire. Budget from Sia? Check. Sponsorship plan? Check. Done! Whew! When you start using Microsoft Teams, teamwork really does become easier. So now I'm heading over to present the plan to the school board. Wish me luck!
De Luna,
Present!
Herrera,
Present!
Valera.
Present!
Handa ba tayo sa school year 2020?
Present!
Ngayong taon, ang edukasyon tuloy pa rin. Sa tulong ng DepEd, mga guro at mga magulang, ang handang isip, handa bukas. Tuloy-tuloy ang pag-aaral. May mga modules para sa iba't ibang antas. Sa government TV, maging sa radyo. Mahalagang ligtas ang ating mga estudyante at guro. Kaya kahit nasa bahay, tuloy ang edukasyon. Kung tulong-tulong, may paraan, may aralan. Handang isip, handa bukas. Bisitahin ang DepEd Philippines sa Facebook at ang deped.gov.ph.
If you spend more time tracking down files than actually working on them, open Teams.
Handa ka na bang magpabakuna? Narito ang mga paalala at hakbang na gagawin sa proseso ng pagbabakuna. Bago ang pagbabakuna, kinakailangan mo nang dumaan sa pre-vaccination screening. Kinakailangan kumuha muna ng medical clearance sa doktor ang mga kabilang sa special population tulad ng mga sumusunod. May autoimmune disease, may cancer, may HIV, sumasailalim sa transplant operation, kasalukuyang umiinom ng steroids, mga pasyenteng may taning na ang buhay dahil sa karamdaman o nakaratay na lang sa kama o bahay. Kapag ikaw ay nabigyan na ng medical clearance mula sa iyong doktor, narito ang mga dapat gawin bago ang araw ng iyong pagbabakuna. 1. Humingi ng schedule at lugar kung saan ka magpapabakuna sa iyong pinakamalapit na barangay health center. 2. Huwag kalimutan dali ng iyong government ID, proof of comorbidity o medical clearance, pati na ang face mask, face shield at hand sanitizer. Sa araw ng pagbabakuna, narito ang mga steps na dapat sundin. Step 1. Waiting area. Siguraduhin kayo ay pumunta sa tamang oras at petsa ng inyong schedule sa pagbabakuna. Hindi papayagan ang mga walk-in sa vaccination sites. Maupo sa bakanting upuan alinsunod sa tamang pagkakasunod na pilang. Hintayin na tawagin kayo para sa susunod na hakbang. Habang nag-aantay, sumunod sa minimum public health standards. Isuot ang face mask at face shield, sundin ang proper physical distancing at ugaliing maghugas at isanitize ang kamay. Step 2. Registration. Sundin ang mga patakaran ng inyong LGU o vaccination site sa pag-register at ipakita ang inyong government ID. Bibigyan kayo ng kopya ng informed consent form, health screening form at mga pamphlet tungkol sa bakuna na pwede ninyong basahin. Hintayin na matapos ang proseso ng registration bago pumunta sa susunod na hakbang. Step 3. Screening. Kayo ay isa sa ilalim sa health screening at tatanungin tungkol sa inyong kalusugan tulad ng history of COVID-19 exposure, history of vaccination, mga gamot na iniinom, kung may allergies at iba pa. Ito ay para makasiguro kung angkop para sa inyo ang magpabakuna sa kasalukuyan. Step 4. Health education. Makinig sa ibabahaging importanteng impormasyon tungkol sa pagbabakuna para sa COVID-19. Kung mayroon pa kayong ibang katanungan, sumangguni sa ating mga vaccination staff. Siguraduhin na pirmahan ang consent form na pumapayag kayong magpabakuna bago pumunta sa susunod na hakbang. Step 5. Vaccine administration. Ito ang panahon kung saan kayo ay babakunahan sa loob ng 1 o 2 minuto. Huwag kalimutan na kunin ang inyong vaccination card pagkatapos matanggap ang bakuna. Step 6. Observation. Alinsunod sa Department of Health, ang lahat na magpapabakuna ay kailangan manatili sa pasilidad ng 15 hanggang 30 minuto para obserbahan kung may hindi magandang nararamdaman. Ang ating medical staff ay nakatutok sa inyo para ma-monitor ang inyong kalusugan. Bibigyan kayo ng mga pangalan ng health facility o hotline kung saan pwedeng pumunta kung kinakailangan sumangguni dahil sa side effects ng bakuna. Pagkatapos ng pagbabakuna, huwag kalimutang gawin ang mga sumusunod. 1. Itanong ang mga nais mong malaman tungkol sa vaccine na binigay sa'yo. 2. Huwag kalimutan ang iyong vaccination card. 3. Alamin ang petsa ng second dose ng iyong pagbabakuna. 4. Kunin ang contact number o alamin kung sino ang dapat tawagan kung sakali mang ikaw ay nakadarama ng seryosong side effects. Narito rin ang ibang mga paalala na dapat tandaan. Siguraduhin bumalik sa schedule para sa pangalawang dose ng bakuna. Laging tatandaan na kahit nabakunahan ka na, ay huwag pa rin kalimutan sumunod sa minimum public health standards tulad ng pagsasanitize ng mga kamay, pagsusuot ng face mask at face shield, at pagdistansya sa iba ng 1 metro. Magmask, hugas, iwas, airflow. Ito ay para na rin sa ating proteksyon at sa proteksyon ng iba. Narito ang pagkakasunod-sunod ng mga eligible population na target mabakunahan. Para sa karagdagang impormasyon, bisitahin ang mga sumusunod na pages. Facebook, Official DOH Gov. Twitter, @DOHGovPH. Website, doh.gov.ph. Tara na sa Bida Vaccination!
Sino ba ang hindi naapektuhan? Sino ba ang hindi nag-alala? Sino ba ang hindi nalito? Lahat tayo ay naapektuhan. Lahat tayo ay nag-aalala. Lahat tayo ay nalito. Dahil binago ng pandemyang dulot ng COVID-19 ang paraan ng pamumuhay ng lahat ng mga Pilipino saan mang sektor ka nabibilang. Tumigil ang panandalian ang ating mga nakagawian. Tumigil ang lahat ng uri ng transaksyon. Tumigil ang lahat ng operasyon ng mga paaralan. Nakalilito. Nakakaba. Paano na ang kinabukasan ng mga kabataan? Paano na tayo sa hinaharap? Opisyal na nilulunsad ng Kagawaran ng Edukasyon sa pangunguna ng Office of the Undersecretary for Curriculum and Instruction ang DepEd Teaches. Ito ay isang online na programa na gagabay sa mga guro, tagapangasiwa, magulang at mag-aaral hinggil sa mga pagbabago sa batayang edukasyon ngayong new normal. Ang DepEd Teaches ay angkla sa sulong edukalidad na nakatuon sa 4 na pangunahing pangangailangan ng mapunyaging reforma tungo sa makalidad na pagtuturo at pagkatuto. Una, pagre-review at pagsasapanahon ng kurikulum ng K-12. Ikalawa, pagpapaunlad ng kapaligirang pampagkatuto. Ikatlo, paglinang ng mga bagong kasanayan sa mga guro. At ang ika-4, ang pakikipag-ugnay sa mga stakeholder para sa suporta at kolaborasyon. Sa pamamagitan ng virtual learning platform, ang DepEd Teaches ang magsisilbing bukas na komunidad ng pagsasanay na titipon sa mga guro, tagapamunong pang-edukasyon at sa sinumang may pagnanais sa pagtataguyod ng kalidad na edukasyon sa bansa at sa pagtagumpay ng bawat Filipinong mag-aaral. Ang mga opisyal, education specialist, learning content expert at outstanding teacher ng DepEd ang magiging tagapanayam na magbabahagi ng kanilang kaalaman at kasanayan sa kurikulum, pagtuturo at pagkatuto, pagtataya at lahat ng kaugnay na mahalaga sa proseso ng pagtuturo at pagkatuto sa new normal. Bilang mga frontliner ng classroom, inaasahang magiging aktibo ang mga guro sa programang ito. Ang mga tema at paksa ay angkop sa kanilang pangangailangan at konteksto sa pamamagitan ng accessible na platform, ang social media. Sumali na sa OUCI family sa DepEd Teaches kung sama-sama mapahuhusay pa ang mga guro, kung sama-sama higit na malilinang natin ang mga mag-aaral.
Good afternoon, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. We are live right now on our official Facebook group, the DepEd Teaches, and to our social media accounts, the DepEd Philippines Facebook page, the DepEd Tayo, and DepEd YouTube channel. Today is the last Thursday of the month of July, and join us in the next hour as we deliver the best professional learning content.
We wholeheartedly invite everyone to join us in our online community by visiting the DepEd Teaches Facebook group. We would really appreciate if you will follow, like, and share this page to your friends. You can watch all over again all the other insightful and meaningful episodes for the past 8 months. Can you believe that? And today, we mark another milestone as we've reached the 30th episode.
Here on DepEd Teaches, we do not just learn from our resources speaker, but we also learn from you, our dear viewers, as you actively participate in our live discussions when you reflect and share your insights with us. We believe your honest, open, and two-way communication. Remember the acronym HOT or HAT that stands for Honest, Open, and Two-Way Communication, as what Dan Oswald said whenever we receive your feedback, that learning can lead our community to mutual understanding. And you know, Ma'am Ana, I think this is what makes DepEd Teaches strong, like a bridge that connects us and brings us to a personal and career success.
I couldn't agree more, Sir July. And speaking of a hot communication, that's a nice acronym, by the way. The honest, open, and two-way communication. We all know how important communication is in our lives, whether it be for personal reason or even at the workplace. More importantly, positive and effective communication with our partners in the field, none other than the parents or learning facilitators at home. They have a vital role in the academic success of our children. We all know that. And along the way, parents and teachers working hand in hand, communicating with each other, they are able to develop trust and respect. And when our kids see this kind of relationship in both parties, when they see the care, connection between parents and teachers, Students will become more motivated to study and work to reach their academic goals.
I agree with that, Ma'am Ana. Indeed, communication is most effective when it goes both ways. Through regular communication with parents, teachers can share information about a student's progress and achievements. If a student experiences learning difficulties or displays certain behavioral problems, the parent who already have formed positive relationship with the school can engage in parent-teacher collaboration. And this cooperative relationship empowers parents to step in and support the students at home, supplementing what teachers have been providing. And today, we will learn more about this aspect of communication, particularly focused on communicating the assessment results, learners' needs, progress, and achievements to various stakeholders, including the parents in this new normal. And you know, Ma'am Ana, the big question that I have for this topic, and probably our viewers also share similar queries, are how do teachers communicate assessment results and learners' need in the new normal? Why do we communicate these results, and what do we expect as teachers can gain from this process and act of communicating the results, needs, and progress of our learners to the parents?
Right? Sounds great, Sir July, those questions, those thought-provoking questions. And we expect that these big questions will be answered in just a moment by our esteemed resource speaker. Are you all excited to meet him? Well, before we ring the curtain up, let's have some warm-up activity while we are still waiting for others to join us here on DepEd Teaches. For this short activity, we will play the same game. We will present you 4 statements and you must complete the idiomatic expression.
So in our activity, all the idioms are related to communication. So again, we will give 30 seconds for each question, and do not hesitate to type in or key in your answer in the comment section. This is a good mental exercise to spice up our discussion. So keep in mind, we only need 1 word for the correct answer. So I hope the direction is clear now. Again, we encourage you, our dear viewers, to join us in this short vocabulary activity.
All right, so let's begin. Please show question number 1. Let me read to you. Just before the assessment, the teacher gave his class a blank talk. Just before the assessment, the teacher gave his class a blank talk. Try to guess the missing word. 30 seconds begin now. All right, so let's reveal the correct answer. Any guess, dear viewers? I think this is an easy one. Okay. So just before the assessment, the teacher gave his class a pep talk. Pep talk. Okay, so it describes a kind of conversation to make someone feel more courageous and enthusiastic. Do you pep your classes up like sharing good news and achievements? Well, pep talk is a positive kind of conversation. So we like, okay, maybe most of us or some of you like a pep talk. Okay, so what's the next question, Sir July?
Okay, that's a good first item, Ma'am Ana. I hope our viewers got it correctly. And now for our second question, let us show them the item on the screen. You shouldn't just rely on blank and talk. You need to interact with your students so that they can connect with the material. Again, you shouldn't just rely on blank and talk. You need to interact with your students so that they can connect with the material. So guess the missing word. Dear viewers, 30 seconds. Start now. All right, so let's try to reveal now the correct answer to this item. So the correct item or the correct answer to this item is chalk. So may I read to you? You shouldn't just rely on chalk and talk. You need to interact with your students so that they can connect with the material. So chalk and talk, we are most likely familiar with this experience, I know. And this is kind of teaching by traditional method, focusing on blackboard and presentation by the teacher, as opposed to a more informal and interactive methods.
All right, so that's a good one, Sir July. We shouldn't be stuck with the chalk and talk method. So they can connect with the material, okay, or with the students and teacher, okay? So for the third question, let's show the third question. Trying to give my students advice always feels like talking to a brick blank. They are just sometimes so set in their own ways. Good thing there are supportive parents who help us in instilling positive discipline. Okay? So again, trying to give my students advice always feels like talking to a brick blank. They are just sometimes so set in their own ways. Good thing there are supportive parents who help us in instilling positive discipline. So what do you think? What's the missing word? 30 seconds, begin now. Okay, so the correct answer is, any guess? Talking to a brick wall. Very obvious with the picture that we have. Okay, so when you say you talk to a brick wall, it means somebody refuses to listen to your advice, ideas, explanation. This is a quite disappointing experience, of course, when people don't listen to you. Nobody wants to talk to a brick wall. Like in our class, we want it to be interactive, dynamic, and engaging. So for the last item, Sir July.
Okay, so I remember my mother telling me, talk to the brick wall when I don't listen to her. Okay, thank you so much, Ma'am Anna. For our last item now, we can show them the question. Let's always back up our commitment with action and blank the talk, with determination and perseverance. Once again, let's always back up our commitment with action and blank the talk, with determination and perseverance. So please key in now your answer, dear viewers, in our Facebook comment section for 30 seconds. All right, so we can now reveal the answer to this item. So the correct answer is walk the talk. So this is an important quality that we must possess regardless of our roles. We must walk the talk, which means we are able to do what we have said and not just making empty promises. So let's always back up our commitment with action and walk the talk with determination and perseverance. Okay, so thank you so much, our dear viewers, for participating in this activity. For a short recap of the idioms that we learned today are the following. We have the pep talk, chalk the talk, talking to a brick wall, and walk the talk. So notice the common word in the following idioms is the word talk. So since our topic today is focused on communication, the idioms we showed are related to talking. So again, we hope you gained new words, or probably this has refreshed you on your vocabulary related to communication. So once again, thank you, dear viewers. And so Finally, we get now down to our main business. Let us welcome our resource speaker today.
Assistant Regional Director Ronelo Firmo has served the department for the past 27 years. He started working as a science research assistant in Philippine Science High School, Eastern Visayas campus, and eventually became the registrar. He then had a teaching experience as a special science teacher in the same school, where he was recognized as an outstanding teacher for 6 years. Later on, he landed successfully the position of a senior education program specialist in DepEd Region 8. ARD Ronelo Firmo holds a bachelor's degree in laws and Master of Arts in Education, and he successfully obtained his Doctor of Philosophy major in Educational Programs Management.
In 2006, his career has continuously taken off as he became the Assistant Schools Division Superintendent of Ormoc City Division and Biliran Division. Eventually, he became the Schools Division Superintendent of Tacloban City Division in 2007, then of Northern Samar Division in 2012, and of Leyte Division in 2013. In 2018, he received a recognition as 2018 Outstanding Schools Division Superintendent of DepEd Region 8. Afterwards, he has become the OIC Assistant Regional Director of DepEd Region 3. And at present, he is now holding the same position and being assigned to serve in DepEd Region 5. Ladies and gentlemen, please all welcome the OIC Assistant Regional Director of DepEd Region 5, Bicol Region, Dr. Ronelo Al K. Firmo.
First of all, I would like to thank the Office of the Undersecretary for Curriculum and Instruction, headed by Undersecretary Diosdado San Antonio, for inviting Region 5 to be the speaker or to be the presenter of the DepEd Teach episode 30. And I would like also to thank our Regional Director for entrusting me to be the speaker of the episode 30 of DepEd Teach with the topic Communicating Assessment Results Learners Need, Progress and Achievement to Various Stakeholders, including parents, in the new normal. According to research studies, the quality of assessment, evaluation, and reporting practices has a direct relationship to student performance. Research continually demonstrates that regular and effective assessment, evaluation, and feedback or reporting are essential to enhancing student learning. Now, how can we have an effective assessment, evaluation, and reporting? Assessment, evaluation, and reporting are considered effective if it is able to know the following. 1. Whether the students are learning or have learned. Number 2, whether the learning outcomes have been mastered. Number 3, whether teaching is or has been effective. Number 4, whether the curriculum and programs are appropriate or relevant. and lastly, whether it is able to address learning needs. How to have an effective assessment, evaluation, and reporting. Assessment, evaluation, and reporting must be ongoing and must be an integral part of the teaching and learning process. Again, I would like to repeat that the assessment, evaluation, and reporting must be an integral part of the teaching and learning process. It must be a continuous cycle consisting of collecting information, interpreting information, and making application to teaching that is for teacher, learning that is for student, and decision-making for school and stakeholders. How assessment, evaluation, and reporting used? Generally, assessment, evaluation, and reporting are being used for the following. Number 1, to inform students and their parents about the progress they are making toward achievement of the learning outcomes of the different learning areas. And the second one is to inform personnel who make educational decisions about students on instruction, diagnostic, placement, promotion, graduation, curriculum planning and implementation, and program development. Now, what are the specific purposes of assessment, evaluation, and reporting? Number 1, determining whether the learning outcomes have been achieved. Next is determining future learning objectives or goals. Next one is providing feedback for students that encourages and improves student learning. Next is providing feedback to teachers on the effectiveness of instruction, the program, learning activities, and learning environment. Another one is that certifying that students have achieved certain levels of performance. Next one is communicating with parents or guardians about student learning and progress. Next is providing the school or school system with important information regarding the relevance of curriculum and the effectiveness of instruction and teaching or learning resources. And lastly, providing the stakeholders on student and school performance, learning needs and gaps, which are possible areas for collaboration and partnership between the school and the stakeholders. Now, what is assessment? Assessment is defined as the systematic process of gathering information about student learning. Huba and Fred in 2000 defined assessment as the process of gathering and discussing information from multiple and diverse sources in order to develop a deep understanding of what students know, understand, and can do with their experiences. The process culminates when assessment results are used to improve subsequent learning. Now, these are the 3 categories of educational assessment. The first category of educational assessment is assessment for learning, or what we call as the formative assessment. Formative assessment occurs during teaching and learning and is used to inform teachers and students of what has been learned and to provide direction for instruction and student improvement. Formative assessment is the evidence of student achievement collected over time from different sources, which are observations, conversations, and student projects. The second category of educational assessment is assessment as learning. Assessment as learning is the metacognitive process in which students take ownership for improving their own learning, It involves students setting learning goals as well as monitoring, reflecting upon adjusting their learning, often in response to feedback from the teachers and their peers. And the last category of educational assessment is the assessment of learning, or the summative assessment. The summative assessment provides evidence of student achievement at specific times throughout the grade, course, or program, often at the end of a period of learning. Assessment of learning captures learning to date at a specific point in time. Now, these are the guiding principles for the development, administration, and use of assessment methods or instruments. In the Principles for Fair Student Assessment Practices for Education in Canada, articulates 5 basic assessment principles. The first principle states that assessment strategies must be appropriate for and compatible with the purpose and context of the assessment. The second principle states that students must be provided with appropriate and sufficient opportunity to demonstrate the knowledge, skills, attitudes, or behaviors being assessed. The third principle states that procedures for judging or scoring student evaluation must be appropriate for the assessment strategy used and be consistently applied and monitored. The fourth principle states that procedures for summarizing and interpreting assessment results must yield accurate and informative representations of a student's performance in relation to the learning outcomes for the reporting period. And the last principle states that assessment or evaluation reports or reporting must be clear, accurate, and of practical value to the audience for whom they are intended. The 5 principles highlight the need for assessment practices which ensure, now 1, that the best interests of students are paramount. Second, assessment informs teaching and promotes learning. 3, assessment, evaluation, and reporting are integral part and ongoing part of the teaching and learning process. Number 4, assessment is clearly related to learning outcomes. Number 5, assessment is fair and equitable to all students and involves multiple sources of information and a variety of assessment strategies. And lastly, the student has optimal opportunity to demonstrate what he or she knows and or has learned or can do. Now, what are the guide on how assessment, policy, and outcomes can be communicated to parents and stakeholders? When communicating information about assessment, consider these questions. Number 1, what information about assessment does your audience need to know? Number 2, how well does your audience understand assessment policy and practice? Number 3, how can information be presented most effectively? Next, how can assessment results be communicated in a way that is clear, compelling, and useful? Next, if assessment results are positive or negative, how should they be disseminated and used? And lastly, once a programmatic change has been made based on assessment results, how do we know if this change was an improvement? Now, here are some of the tips for communicating assessment results. Number 1, inform parents of assessment policy and class expectations in advance. Parents need to understand how their child will be assessed. When appropriate, they will be informed of assessment outcomes. Number 2, avoid providing unnecessary assessment information. Number 3, clarify any terms that may be technical or seem like jargon. Number 4, give honest but constructive feedback on assessment outcomes. And lastly, put scores into context and focus on progress as well as attainment. Now, how to communicate assessment results? When communicating results, the primary goal should always be to encourage action. Assessment results have the best of being used when they tell a meaningful story and it is clear, concise, and compelling and adequately address reasonable critics. This is adapted from Linda Suski's book, Assessing Student Learning 2010. How can we tell a meaningful story? Number 1, we have to tailor assessment results to your audience. We have to understand their needs, perspectives, and priorities. Second, we have to highlight interesting and unanticipated findings. Number 3, we have to emphasize meaningful differences. Number 4, we have to focus on matters your audience can do something about. Number 5, provide context for your results. And the last one is to offer informed commentary. Now, how can we have a clear, concise, and compelling assessment results? First, we have to avoid jargon. Number 2, we have to use numbers sparingly. And the last one, we have to use data visualization techniques. Data visualization is the conversion of data sources into visual presentations. Visualizations can range from simple table and graphs to more complex infographics and interactive media. Now, what are the ways of communicating assessment results? The first is the parent-teacher conferences. Conducting effective parent-teacher conferences can help boost family involvement in your classroom and help promote positive outcomes for you, your students, and your school. Why the need for parent-teacher conference? A parent-teacher conference is a great opportunity to 1. Share academic progress and growth based on classroom observations, testing data. Number 2, learn from parents or guardians so you can be better informed about students' strengths, needs, behaviors, and learning styles. You can discuss enrichment or intervention strategies to support students' learning. You can discuss issues that may be interfering with students' learning and growth. Another way of communicating assessment result is written communication. The written report should limit the quantity of information provided so that it is consistent with the level of detail needed by parents or guardians. In the written communication, it should focus on assessment information that they will find useful, clear information outlining the pupil's strengths and areas for development. Another way of communicating assessment result is digital communication. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, technology has played an increasingly key role in creating more effective channels of communicating assessment results to parents. Many teachers now share information with parents via web portals, emails, group chats, cell phones, or a variety of digital apps. This reduces the risk of transmission of the COVID-19 virus and the risk of printed information getting lost and can better facilitate two-way communication between the schools, teachers, and parents. In an NWEA Gallup survey of parents, students and educators in 2016, a key finding was that more than 6 in 10 parents said their child's teacher rarely or never discussed their child's assessment results with them. In the same survey, teachers reported that they felt comfortable with most aspects of assessments, but less so when it came to communicating with parents about the results. Talking to parents about assessment results is an important step in helping parents understand their child's growth, be a partner in goal setting, and generally give them a role in improving their child's learning. Now, here are some of the points you can raise and tips you can impart to parents to help them not only understand assessment and assessment results, but also in preparing their children for testing. 1. Have them meet with you as often as needed to discuss their child's progress. Number 2. Suggest activities to do at home to help improve their child's understanding of schoolwork. Number 3. Encourage them to have a quiet, comfortable place for their child to study at home, if possible, and free of digital distractions. Number 4. Remind them that it's important for the child to be well rested on school days and especially on the day of the test. Children who are tired and are less able to pay attention in class or to handle the demands of a test. Number 5, hold them understand the importance of providing books and magazines for their child to read at home. Number 6, explain the purpose of the assessment, such as the difference between those used to inform classroom instruction. Number 8, share with them which tests are being used in their child's classroom and how the results of each are used. Next, send a communication about when the tests are being given, when the results will be available, and how the parents will receive the results. Next, share their child's learning progress using assessment results as well as your classroom observations. Next, point out academic strengths and weaknesses on how they can help address areas of concerns outside of the classroom, particularly if assessment results point to specific things they can do. This was taken on the 10 ways for teachers and parents to communicate better about assessments by Kate Boboski in 2018. Now, what are the ways of communicating assessment results to stakeholders? Assessment results can be communicated to stakeholders through the following: PTA and stakeholders meeting, State of the School Address or the SOSA, through the annual accomplishment report, newsletters, and school web pages. Now, here are some of the guidelines in engaging stakeholders to address the assessment results and learners' needs. First, the school must take the lead to provide stakeholders the data and other information they need to be productive partners around student achievement. Next, partnership activities must be directly aligned with student achievement goals. Next, efforts must be collaborative and genuine. There are meaningful roles for each party to play, and this must be clearly articulated. Next, information sharing must be transparent. Achievement data must be clear, accurate, and meaningful. Next, all parties must operate from common values and a common vision for student achievement. Next, all efforts must be mission-oriented and data-driven. So this was taken from the Sustaining Reading First Sustainability Series number 6, www.ed.gov Programs Reading First Support Task Stakeholders Philippines. To end, let me quote this research finding that one of the most influential factors in improving learning is for learners to receive clear and specific feedback while they are learning. To all of you, God bless. Diyos mabalos.
So thank you so much, ARD Firmo, for a very smooth and fairly comprehensive presentation that highlights the importance and guidelines on how to communicate assessment results to our learners and most especially to their parents. And we are confident that our viewers have appreciated the learning points that you were raised. Then to our viewers, just keep on sharing your insight here on DepEd Teaches comment section. We love to read your feedback, and this would be helpful in enhancing our content and improving our delivery. You can also post your learning on your personal Facebook page and Twitter account, and make sure you use the hashtag I support DepEd Teaches, and hashtag DepEd Teaches episode 30.
So that wraps up the theme instructional planning, delivery, and assessment. And that means that it's time for our evaluation. So for you to receive your certificates of appearance and participation, you should first accomplish the registration and you must pass the evaluation. On the screen, you see the link to access the evaluation. This is open until Saturday midnight. Okay, so you have enough time. If you miss some of the highlights between episodes 25 to 30, you can watch these episodes again on our official Facebook page, the DepEd Teaches. Remember, you can only answer the evaluation once, so we hope you will take it seriously and you are all prepared in acing our short quiz. Once again, thank you so much for joining with us. We hope to see you again next week as we open a new theme, only here on DepEd Teaches.
So this ends now our episode 30. On behalf of the curriculum and instruction strand, keep in mind that children will always be our priority, and so change is the reality that requires collaboration, which is the strategy, especially when we maintain a hot or an honest, open, and two-way communication. Here on DepEd Teaches, we are as well open to communicating with you important teaching and learning concerns because our mission is empowering teachers, enabling learners. A blessed afternoon, everyone.